challenge traditional norms. Today, what do you all think is the end result of that? Did you make this nation a better place? And if so, why? Is the time period that you all came of age in the turbulent 60s, did that influence the way you raised your children compared to how your mother and father raised you?
Absolutely. It definitely influenced me as a hippie because it opened me up to understanding things better. It's been an influence on how we raised our children, and we're so excited about their lives and what they do. It's been the United Nations at our house. The kids are from all over the world. It's given us the opportunity to understand the world.
So I think now we're much more accepting of differences. That's the big, change that I would say. Much more accepting, and you're not in your little, your little box, like being born into a, Catholic family. That was your little world, that's all that was expected of you. We've reached, beyond that and broken down those barriers. In my mind, that I wanted to raise a daughter who would be able to advocate for herself, not let any barriers stand in her way for accomplishing what she wanted to reach as her goal, for a career.
Change is going to happen. And I think what we learned from the 60s is that, it's inevitable. And you have to learn acceptance, no matter how uncomfortable it may seem to you, because that's the way you're going to learn, that's the way you're going to grow. And it just scares me with people who have the mindset that they want to nail the hands of time to the wall and keep things the way they are or go back to the way they were, because they're never going to be that way. My God, I lived through these times, and how fortunate I feel, and how uncomfortable I did feel at the time, but how fortunate I do feel to have lived through and experienced these things. Education is the biggest thing. I think, the investment we make in kids today is by far the most important thing we can do, just to give kids a chance. I'm very happy to have grown up in the 60s and be affected by it.
I worked from the time my kids was 6 weeks old. I was lucky. I worked at a pediatric office. I brought them to work with me. They fit right in with the other kids in the waiting room. But, subsequently they learned how their mother and father worked, and to get what we wanted in life, we had to work hard for it. And subsequently they've been very successful too.
Exposure to all those, the different ideas and to the changing culture, I think for all of us, I would hope, really did help us develop and think about things in a very different way, challenging authority for the women, trying to become more assertive and more independent and get more rights, control of one's own body and not having somebody telling you what you have to do with your own body. The music was wonderful. I think it added an enrichment to us. The opening up of TV for us, and it opened it up in a way, I guess, that the media now is opening it up for the younger generation, though I think probably in a less threatening way in some ways. I do have some bouts of despair nowadays when I think of all we went through and how people work so hard to get racial equality, women's rights, socioeconomic betterment. And now that I see that some of our fellow citizens don't appear to want that for everyone in America, and I just wonder how, is our generation, do we need to be more vocal about things? Do we need to do more? Sandy, you were incredibly active, and you did amazing.
It's a lifestyle choice.
It was.
But if we hadn't done, not we, but what that generation and the slightly before it had not done what they did, I think we'd be in a very, very bad situation.
Oh, I agree.
It didn't save the world, but it laid a lot of groundwork. And John, the magic word John said was question.
Yeah.
They questioned no matter what field it was. They weren't just taking things. Despite Looney's a distinctive notion of what it meant to be a good person, a sense of connection to others, morality of civil rights, morality of anti-war, that were better values than fame and fortune, peace and love. Psychedelia and psychedelic bands, a search for enlightenment by way of communes. So again, it wasn't, we didn't establish that perfect world, but I think it at least started the conversation. That's what I like to do with my kids, is communicate, you know, which was probably lacking in my parents' generation. You did it or otherwise.
Highway to the highway.
Yeah.